In today's video, we're tackling a pressing question. Personal loans without a credit check. Are they legit? If you've ever seen ads promising no credit check loans or loans without a credit check and wondered if they're the real deal or just a scam, you're not alone. Many Americans with bad credit or no credit are tempted by these offers, hoping for quick cash without the usual credit scrutiny. In this 30-minute deep dive, we'll break down everything you need to know in plain English. We'll compare no credit check loans versus traditional loans, share examples of legit personal loans with no credit check, tell some borrower stories, and flag red flags for scams. By the end, you'll have a clear answer to are no credit check loans real and know how to protect yourself. Let's get started. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a no credit check loan? Simply put, it's a personal loan where the lender does not perform a traditional credit check on your credit history or FICO score during the approval process. Unlike most banks or credit unions, which always pull your credit report, these lenders skip the hard credit inquiry. Instead, they rely on other factors to decide if you qualify. Those factors can include your employment status, monthly income, bank account history, or even collateral you can offer. Some newer lenders might also do a soft credit check, a gentler look at your credit that doesn't hurt your score. Why do people seek loans without a credit check? Usually, it's because they have bad credit or no credit history at all. If you've been turned down by traditional lenders, a no credit check loan might seem like the only option. These loans are especially appealing if you're among the approximately 45 million Americans with little to no credit history. They promise quick cash without the embarrassment of a credit rejection. For someone in a tight spot, say an unexpected car repair or medical bill, the idea of instant approval, no questions asked, is hard to resist. However, bypassing the credit check comes at a price. Lenders use credit checks to gauge risk. If they don't check your credit, they protect themselves by charging much higher interest rates and fees. In other words, no credit check doesn't mean free money. It often means you'll pay more for the loan. As we'll see, many no credit check loans have short terms and sky-high costs, making them very different from ordinary personal loans. How do loans without a credit check compare to standard personal loans from a bank or credit union? Let's break it down. Credit evaluation. A traditional personal loan always involves a credit check. Lenders review your credit score and history to decide if you qualify and what interest rate to charge. With a no credit check loan, the lender skips the hard credit inquiry. This means even if your credit score is low or non-existent, you could still get approved. However, legitimate lenders might still do a soft check or use alternative databases, like employment or bank info, to ensure you have the ability to repay. If a lender truly asks for zero background info, that's a red flag we'll discuss later. Interest rates. Traditional loans generally have interest rates ranging from single digits up to around 36% APR at most, depending on your creditworthiness. In contrast, no credit check loans often carry extremely high interest rates. In fact, many belong to the payday or short-term loan category, where rates can skyrocket into the triple digits. According to the U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the average 2-week payday loan has an interest rate of nearly 400% APR. Even installment-style no-credit check loans usually charge much higher rates than traditional loans to offset the lender's risk. As a rule of thumb, if you see interest over 100% APR, that's far above any normal personal loan and a sign of a predatory product. Loan amounts. Traditional personal loans can range from a few $1,000s up to $50,000 or more, depending on the lender. They're often used for major expenses or debt consolidation. No credit check loans, on the other hand, are usually for small sums. Many payday loans are for $500 or less. Online installment lenders without credit checks might offer anywhere from a couple of $100s up to a few thousand. It's rare to find a no credit check loan above about $5,000. and most are at the low end of that range. One exception, a lender we'll discuss later, 60-month loans, offers up to $10,000 with no hard credit pull, but that's not typical in this industry. Repayment terms. With traditional loans, you often repay in monthly installments over 1 to 5 years, sometimes even longer. This spreads out the cost and can make payments manageable. In contrast, many no-credit check loans have very short terms. Payday loans are typically due in 2 to 4 weeks by your next paycheck, requiring a lump sum repayment. Other no-credit check installment loans might give you a few months to a year to repay, but rarely as long as a standard loan. Short terms plus high rates equals a heavy burden on the borrower. Monthly payments versus lump sum. Traditional loans are paid back gradually in equal monthly payments. Many no-credit check loans, like payday loans, require repaying the full amount, plus interest, all at once on your next payday. Some lenders may allow installment plans, but watch out. A few might lure you with smaller payments and then demand a balloon payment, a large lump sum, at the end. Always check if the repayment plan is clear and spread out, or if you're expected to pay a huge amount later. Lack of clarity here is a warning sign. Collateral. Most traditional personal loans are unsecured, meaning you don't need collateral, like a house or car. No credit check loans can be unsecured or secured. For example, payday loans and many online loans are unsecured. No collateral, just your promise to pay. But title loans, a common no-credit check product, are secured by your vehicle title, more on that soon, and pawn shop loans are secured by the item you pawn. Traditional lenders usually only require collateral for specific loans, like auto loans, mortgages, or secured personal loans, not for standard personal loans. In summary, no-credit check loans are generally easier to get but much harder to repay. They trade off the convenience of no credit hurdle for higher costs, smaller amounts, and tighter repayment timelines. A bank loan might take longer to approve and require a credit check, but it will almost always have a far lower APR and more borrower-friendly terms if you qualify. No credit check loan is an umbrella term. In reality, it covers a few different types of financial products. Let's go through the most common ones and what to know about each. Payday loans. When most people hear no credit check loan, they think of payday loans. A payday loan is a short-term loan, usually for a small amount, often a few $100s, that's due in full on your next payday. True to their name, payday lenders generally do no credit check or vetting of your ability to repay. Basically, if you have a paycheck and a pulse, you can get approved. Sounds easy, but the catch is astronomical fees and interest. Payday loans commonly charge fees equivalent to 300% to 700% APR, annualized. For example, paying a $15 fee to borrow $100 for 2 weeks equals about a 391% APR. Because you must repay so quickly, many people can't afford to pay the loan back and still cover their bills, so they roll over the loan or take another one, falling into a debt cycle. Bottom line, payday loans require no credit check, but they're extremely expensive and risky. Many states have put limits on payday lending because of these issues. Title loans. A title loan is another no credit check option that is typically just as predatory. With a title loan, you use your car's title as collateral for a short-term loan. The lender doesn't care about your credit, because if you don't repay, they can repossess your vehicle. Title loans often let you borrow a bit more money than payday loans, depending on your car's value, but they also charge triple-digit APRs and usually require repayment in 30 days or so. If you fail to pay, losing your car can create a whole new financial crisis. In short, no credit check needed, but you're putting one of your valuable assets on the line and still paying incredibly high interest. Pawn shop loans. Ever seen a pawn shop and wondered what goes on inside? Pawn shops offer small loans without credit checks in exchange for holding your personal property as collateral. For example, You might pawn a piece of jewelry or an electronic device and get a loan for a fraction of its value. If you repay the loan with interest on time, you get your item back. If not, the pawnbroker keeps your item and sells it. These loans also carry high fees relative to the amount borrowed. They don't typically advertise as no credit check loans, but effectively they are. Your collateral is the guarantee. These can be an option for fast cash if you have valuables, but again, cost and risk, losing your item, are the trade-offs. Online installment loans, no credit check. In recent years, many online lenders and fintech companies have emerged, some advertising installment loans with no credit check. These are a bit different from payday loans. You borrow a set amount and repay it in multiple installments, bi-weekly or monthly, over a few months. Examples include lenders like Possible Finance, OP Loans, and others we'll discuss. They still tend to have very high interest rates, often 100% to 200% plus APR, but they split payments over time to make it somewhat more manageable than a lump sum payday loan. Some of these lenders report payments to credit bureaus, which can help you build credit if you pay on time, a potential perk over traditional payday loans. However, be cautious. Just because it's an installment loan doesn't automatically mean it's affordable. Always check the APR and fees. If it's in the triple digits, it's an expensive loan. Credit union payday. Alternative loans, PALs. On the more legitimate side, some credit unions offer what are called payday alternative loans. These are designed to compete with payday lenders by offering small dollar loans to members without a credit check, but at far lower cost. For instance, one federal credit union's PAL program lets you borrow up to $1,000 quickly with no credit check and charges much less in fees and interest than a typical payday lender. You repay these over a few months, say 6 months, in installments rather than one lump sum, making it easier on your budget. The catch is, you usually must be a member of the credit union, often for a few months before qualifying. But if you are eligible, PALs are one of the safest no credit check loan options out there. We'll talk more about this as a legit example soon. Cash advance apps. While not exactly loans in the traditional sense, you might hear about apps like Earnin, Dave, or Bridget that offer small cash advances without a credit check. These let you get an advance on your paycheck. They usually don't charge interest. Instead, they may ask for a tip or have a subscription fee. The amounts are small, maybe $100 to $250, and they auto-debit your bank account on payday. These can help in a pinch and indeed require no credit check, but you must be careful not to rely on them too heavily. It can mess up your next paycheck's budget. And always read the terms. While they're generally considered more consumer-friendly than payday loans, they are not a long-term solution for financial troubles. Those are the main categories. Each comes with its own risks and fine print. Notice a pattern? Generally, the easier a loan is to get, no credit check, no collateral, instant cash. The more strings, or costs, attached. It's the wild west of lending out there, so you have to be informed. Are no credit check loans legit? The answer is a mix of yes and no. Let me explain. Not all no credit check loans are outright scams. You can get money from them, but many are far from consumer friendly. In fact, they're often considered last resort options because of their high costs. Scammers also frequently use the promise of no credit check to lure in victims. Let's unpack this step by step. First, the legit side. There are genuine lenders who offer loans without a traditional credit check. They will give you a real loan, which you will have to pay back under agreed terms. For example, certain online lenders and some credit unions, as we mentioned, have legitimate no credit check loan programs. These are businesses following the law. If you borrow from them, you will receive the funds, and if you repay as agreed, you're done. No scam there. However, and this is crucial, you'll pay dearly for the convenience. As one finance expert put it, no credit check loans are often one of the most expensive forms of borrowing. Lenders know that if you're bypassing a credit check, you likely have limited options, so they charge extremely high interest to compensate for the risk. It's legit in the sense that it's a real, legal loan, but you might feel it's borderline predatory. For instance, the lender Possible Finance will discuss is a legitimate company, but in some states their loans carry over 200% APR. Ouch. So yes, no credit check loans exist and are real, but many are legally sanctioned debt traps. Now, the scam side. Unfortunately, where there's desperation, there are scammers. Fraudsters know that people with bad credit are anxious to find loans, so they advertise guaranteed approval, personal loans, no credit check, to reel you in. If a lender promises you'll be approved without even knowing your name or income, alarms should go off. Guaranteed loan approval is a huge red flag. No legitimate lender guarantees approval up front, especially not regardless of credit. Another common scam tactic is asking for upfront fees. The scammer might say, "You're approved. Just pay a $100 processing fee or insurance fee first via wire transfer or gift card." If you pay, they disappear and you never get the loan. Legitimate lenders do not charge large fees before giving you the loan. At most, a real lender might deduct an origination fee from your loan proceeds or charge a small application fee, but they won't have you send money in advance on a prepaid card. That's a scam every time. So, how do you know if a no credit check loan offer is legitimate or too good to be true? Here are some quick clues. It actually provides details and disclosures. Legit lenders, even high-cost ones, will clearly state the loan's interest rate, terms, monthly payment, etc. If an ad or website just says, "Get $5,000 now, no credit needed, apply here," with no details until you hand over personal info, be wary. U.S. law requires lenders to disclose APR and fees. Scammers or shady lenders might gloss over that. If the terms are disclosed and you see a triple-digit APR, at least you know what you're in for, and can run away if you choose. The lender is registered and has a track record. Most states require payday or installment lenders to be licensed. If you've never heard of the company, do some homework. Search for their name plus words like reviews or complaints. Check your state's financial regulator or licensing database to see if they're authorized to make loans in your state. A legitimate lender will be listed and have a real physical address and customer service number. Scammers often use purely online fronts with no verifiable information. You actually receive a loan agreement. Real lenders will provide a contract for you to review and sign, even if electronically. Scammers might avoid paperwork or send something that looks fishy or incomplete. Always read the loan agreement. If the lender rushes you or says you don't need to worry about the fine print, that's a bad sign. Never sign anything you haven't read. A rushing, high-pressure approach is a red flag. They don't want you to realize the trap. There's no free lunch. If an offer claims you can get, say, a $10,000 personal loan overnight with no credit check, low interest, and no collateral, it's almost certainly fake. Every loan has a cost. The legit no credit check loans will openly have high interest or some catch, like lower amounts. If it sounds unbelievably good for someone with bad credit, it's not believable. Scammers prey on hope, so stay realistic. They ask for weird forms of payment. This is specific to scams. If a lender asks you to pay any sort of fee via Western Union, MoneyGram, gift cards, or giving your banking login info, run. No real lender does that. One common scam is the advance fee loan, where they say the fee is for insurance or security. Once you send it, they ghost you. Legit lenders deduct fees from the loan or have you pay processing fees at a branch, not via untraceable methods. In summary, some no-credit check loans are real financial products, though costly, but many offers out there are outright scams or dangerous debt traps. As one financial site bluntly stated, "Not all no-credit check loans are scams. but they often come with high rates and fees, making them risky. Always approach these offers with caution and a critical eye. Not all lenders who skip credit checks are sketchy. Here are a few legitimate no credit check loan options or lenders and what to expect from them. Possible Finance. Small loans with a conscience. Possible Finance is a fintech lender that offers small installment loans, often a few $100s, with no hard credit check. They're app-based and promote themselves as a friendlier alternative to payday loans. With Possible, you can borrow up to $500 and repay in 4 monthly installments rather than one lump sum. They report to credit bureaus, so repaying on time can help build your credit over time. They also boast no late fees, no hidden fees, and even a 30-day extension, forbearance, if you hit a snag. Sounds great, right? It is more consumer-friendly than a payday loan in structure. However, the interest is still very high. Depending on your state, Possible's loans can have APRs above 200%. That's better than a 400% payday loan, but still costly. The idea is you're paying for a short-term bridge and the chance to build credit. Legitimacy. Possible Finance is a real company with customer support, and many users have successfully borrowed from them. They don't charge upfront fees or do anything scammy. Just go in with eyes open about the interest rate. 60-month loans, longer term. No credit check loans. 60-month loans is an online lender that stands out by offering larger loans, $2,600 up to $10,000, without a hard credit check. As their name implies, they allow repayment terms up to 60 months, 5 years, which is much longer than typical no credit check loans. How do they do this responsibly? Well, 60-month loans has a relationship with Experian, a credit bureau, that lets them do a soft credit pull and analyze your recent bank statements instead of a full hard credit check. They aim to offer more reasonable rates than payday lenders. In fact, while they do charge an origination fee, up to 5%, their APRs do not reach the hundreds of percent. They still might be higher than a prime personal loan, but you might see something in double-digit APR rather than triple-digit. They also don't charge late fees. Legitimacy. 60-month loans operates in many states, about 19 states as of now, and has a good customer service reputation. This is about as legit as a no credit check installment loan gets. But remember, legit doesn't mean cheap. Always compare what they offer with other options. Credit union payday, alternative loans, PALs. We mentioned these earlier, and they deserve a shout out as a legitimate pathway. If you are a member of a credit union, or can become one, ask about small payday alternative loans. For example, FICARE Federal Credit Union offers a PAL where you can borrow up to $1,000 quickly without a credit check. The key benefits are lower fees and interest than typical payday lenders, and a more manageable installment plan. In FICARE's case, you repay the PAL in low payments over 6 months instead of all at once. These programs are regulated. Federal credit unions have rules capping interest around 28% for PALs and a modest application fee. They're truly designed to help members in a bind without exploiting them. Legitimacy. As long as it's through a reputable credit union, it's as legit as any other credit union loan. The only downside is accessibility. You need to qualify for membership and often need to have been a member for a minimum period, e.g., 1 to 6 months, before borrowing. Opportune. No credit history required. Opportune is a well-known lender, originally focused on Latino communities, that offers personal loans to people with limited or no credit history. While Opportune does check some information, they have no minimum credit score to qualify. They use alternative data to underwrite. Opportune's loans go up to a few $1,000s, and their APR is capped around 35.99%, which is high but a world away from 200% plus. This is an example of a lender that doesn't require a traditional credit profile, making it no credit check in spirit, yet keeps rates within reasonable bounds of a personal loan. Legitimacy. Opportune is a legitimate, regulated lender. even publicly traded for a time. If you have zero credit, they could offer you a real loan that helps establish credit, with rates far below payday loans, though you might need to provide proof of income and go through a soft credit pull. Upstart, AI-based loan approval. Upstart isn't exactly a no credit check lender, but they are worth mentioning as an alternative for those with thin credit files. Upstart's model uses AI and non-traditional variables like your education, employment, and overall financial picture to approve loans. They will consider applicants with credit scores as low as 300, which is basically no credit or very bad credit, and even people with no score at all might get offers. The catch? Upstart does a soft credit check for pre-qualification and a hard check if you accept a loan, so it's not invisible to credit bureaus. But their rates range roughly from 6.7% to 35.99% APR, similar to other personal loans, not the outrageous rates of payday lenders. Legitimacy. Upstart is a well-established, fully legitimate platform. The loans are often funded by banks partnering with Upstart. They show that you can get a loan with minimal credit history without resorting to predatory lenders if you meet their other criteria. These examples illustrate a key point. Legitimate no credit check or credit flexible loans do exist, but they tend to offer smaller amounts and carry higher interest than traditional loans, though not as insane as payday loans. Companies like Possible Finance and 60-month loans are trying to fill a niche, providing an option for people who'd otherwise go to loan sharks, but doing it in a slightly more affordable and transparent way. Credit unions with PALs show that even not-for-profit lenders recognize the need for such products, and they aim to offer them responsibly. Important. Even when dealing with a legit lender, read reviews and understand the terms. Just because a lender isn't a scam doesn't mean the loan is a good idea for you. For instance, you might get a real loan offer, but at 150% APR, it's legal, you will get the money, but is it wise? Always consider if there's a better alternative. We'll cover some alternatives in a moment. When hunting for legit personal loans no credit check online, you'll likely come across both genuine offers and outright scams. To protect yourself, watch out for these major red flags that often signal a personal loan scam or predatory lender. Guaranteed approval, no matter what. As mentioned before, if a lender promises 100% guaranteed approval, no credit check required for anyone, be very skeptical. Legitimate lenders never guarantee approval without reviewing your finances. Claims like bad credit, no problem, in combination with guaranteed large loans are usually bait. Real lenders might advertise that they accept all credit types, but they'll never ensure you're approved before you apply. Red flag, over-the-top promises of easy money. Upfront fees or strange payment requests. Beware if you're asked to pay something before you receive the loan funds. One common scam is the advance fee loan. They'll say you need to pay, say, $50, $100 or more for processing, insurance, or as a sign of good faith prior to loan disbursement. They might ask for this via wire transfer, prepaid debit card, or gift cards. This is almost always a scam. Legit lenders deduct fees from the loan or roll them into payments. They don't ask for big upfront payments in odd forms. An upfront application fee, small and paid by credit debit card on a secure site, might be okay if you're sure the lender is real, but even that is rare nowadays. Red flag. Just send us $200 in Amazon gift cards and then we'll loan you $5,000. No credible lender does that. No physical address or licensing information. If a lender's website or paperwork doesn't clearly show an office address, contact information, or license numbers, that's a bad sign. U.S. lenders should be registered in the states they operate. If you can't find a mailing address or the name looks suspiciously similar to a known lender, scammers sometimes impersonate real companies, take pause. Also, if the only contact is a random Gmail or Yahoo email or a cell phone number, likely not legitimate. Red flag. The company seems to exist only in the online ether with no transparency. High pressure or rushed process. Does the person or site push you to act fast or sign now without giving you time to think? Scammers don't want you to have time to research them or read the fine print. They might say the offer is limited or you must accept immediately. A real lender wants you to understand the terms. They have disclosures and even waiting periods for some loans. If someone is rushing you through paperwork or discouraging questions, be very cautious. Red flag. Sign right now, don't delay, or you'll miss out. Triple-digit interest rates and odd terms. While not every high-interest lender is a scam, some are just legally predatory, extremely high APRs, over 100%, should always put you on alert. At minimum, it's a signal to explore other options because that is expensive. Also, look for weird repayment terms, like a requirement for a huge balloon payment at the end, or terms that don't make mathematical sense. If the loan terms are confusing or not fully explained, that's a problem. A lack of clarity about fees or payment schedules is another red flag. Legit lenders must disclose this. If they haven't, something's off. No credit check and no income check. It's one thing to skip credit history, but every responsible lender will at least want to ensure you have income or a way to repay. If a lender doesn't ask about your job, income, or any ability to pay questions, they either don't care if you default because they plan to hound you or already have collateral, or it's a scam. Ethical lenders use some underwriting criteria, employment, bank statements, etc., even if they don't pull your credit. Red flag. They'll give you a $5,000 loan without even knowing if you're employed. Not a good sign. Terrible customer reviews or no footprint. Before you click that apply button, do a quick search. Lender name reviews or lender name scam. Check the Better Business Bureau, BBB site, or consumer forums. If you find a pattern of complaints about fraud, harassment, or people saying they paid fees and got nothing, steer clear. If you find almost no information at all about a lender that claims to be nationwide and in business for years, that's suspicious too. Might be a fly-by-night operation or a rebranded scam. Red flag. Overwhelmingly bad feedback from other borrowers, or the lender is a complete unknown with zero online presence. To sum up, trust your instincts and knowledge. If something feels off about a no credit check loan offer, there's likely a reason. It's better to walk away or take more time to investigate than to fall into a trap that could steal your money or identity. Remember, if you do encounter a scam, report it to the FTC and your state attorney general's office so they can warn others. Sometimes a no credit check loan might truly seem like your only lifeline, but it's worth exploring other options that could be less costly or risky. Here are a few alternatives and strategies. Try your bank or credit union. If you have a checking or savings account at a bank or credit union, talk to them first. Even if your credit score is low, your bank might consider your history as a customer. For example, some institutions will look at factors like how regularly you deposit paychecks, your account balance trends, or if you've managed any past small loans or overdrafts. They might not advertise a no credit check loan, but they could be willing to lend a small amount based on your relationship, even if the standard criteria aren't met. The interest rate and fees could be far lower than an online payday lender. It's not a guarantee. You may still face a credit check, but you might be surprised. If a computer denies you, ask if there's a manual review or appeal process based on your history with them. This tends to work better if you have no credit, thin file, rather than really bad credit. Get a cosigner. Is there someone in your life with good credit who trusts you? A family member or close friend could co-sign a loan for you. This means their credit and income are used to help get approval, but you are still the primary borrower. Some personal loan companies allow co-signers. With a strong co-signer, you might qualify for a regular personal loan with a decent interest rate, instead of a high-rate no-credit loan. Warning: only do this if you are confident you can repay because if you default, your cosigner is legally on the hook and their credit will be hurt. Co-signing can strain relationships, so handle this option with care and clear communication. Borrow from retirement savings. This isn't ideal for everyone, but if you have a 401k through your job, you might be able to take a loan from your own retirement funds. 401k loans typically do not require a credit check, and the interest rate is low and paid back to your own account. The downside is, if you leave your job, you may have to repay the loan quickly, or it will be treated as a withdrawal with taxes and penalties. Also, you're borrowing from your future self. You'll lose out on some investment growth while the money is out. Still, in an emergency, a 401k loan can be a far cheaper short-term loan than a payday loan. Just have a plan to pay it back and understand the rules. Check with your HR or plan provider. Credit card cash advance or new credit card. If your credit isn't completely shot, you might have credit card options. A cash advance on a credit card can be expensive, often approximately 25% APR plus a 3 to 5% fee. But compare 25% to 400%. It's much cheaper than a payday loan. Or perhaps you can get a new credit card, even a secured credit card, to cover an expense. Some subprime credit cards or retail cards will approve low scores with fees. While not great long-term, they might be an option to get through a pinch. Just be cautious to not sink into credit card debt either. Build credit for next time. This isn't a quick fix for now, but consider working on your credit so you have better options in the future. Products like credit builder loans, where you basically pay a loan to yourself and build credit in the process, or secured loans from a credit union can establish positive credit history. Even secured credit cards, where you put down a deposit, can help raise your score over a few months. Improving your credit opens doors. Many lenders offer bad credit loans at lower rates if you can get even into the 600-plus credit score range. It might not help for an urgent need today, but it's a smart longer-term strategy. Ask for help or negotiation. Depending on why you need a loan, sometimes there are non-loan solutions. If it's a medical bill, see if the hospital offers payment plans or financial assistance. If it's rent, talk to your landlord. Some might give a little extra time if you're a good tenant. Utility companies and others sometimes have hardship programs. It's not easy to ask, but it could eliminate the need for a loan entirely. Or if you have trusted friends, family, a small loan from them with a clear agreement to pay back might be possible. Of course, handle personal loans with loved ones with as much care as a bank loan. It's real money and real trust on the line. Credit counseling. If debt and credit issues are forcing you to consider high-cost loans, it might be worth talking to a nonprofit credit counselor. They can help you make a budget, possibly negotiate with creditors, and find other resources so you're not forced into bad loan decisions. They won't give you cash, but they might free up your cash flow by restructuring other obligations. The big picture is, exhaust all safer and cheaper avenues first. No credit check loans should be a last resort for true emergencies after you've looked at other possibilities. Sometimes they are unavoidable, and in those cases, choosing the most legitimate and affordable option, as we discussed in the examples section, is critical. So, are personal loans without a credit check legit? In summary, some are legit financial products, but many are risky, expensive, or outright scams. Legitimate no-credit check loans do exist, often in the form of payday loans, title loans, or certain online installment loans. But they come with huge strings attached, massive interest rates, short repayment terms, or collateral requirements. We've seen that a few reputable players, like certain fintech lenders and credit unions, offer responsible versions of these loans, yet even those should be used sparingly and carefully. If you're considering a no-credit check loan, go in with your eyes open. Remember that no credit check is not equal to free money. You'll pay in other ways. Ask yourself, do I truly need this money right now? Can I realistically repay it under these terms? If you decide to proceed, stick with the most reputable option you can find. We gave examples like possible finance, 60-month loans, opportune, or credit union pals. Avoid the bottom-of-the-barrel lenders that promise the moon but deliver misery. Always watch for the red flags we discussed: guaranteed approval promises, upfront fee requests, extremely high APRs, and pressure tactics. Don't let slick advertising or desperation lead you into a scam or a debt trap. If something feels off, it probably is. Trust your gut and do your homework on the lender's background. On the flip side, know that you have alternatives. Even with poor credit, you might have other paths like cosigners, credit union loans, or payment plans for your expenses. A no-credit check loan might be the fastest solution, but the fastest solution isn't always the best solution for your finances. Key takeaway: not all no-credit check loans are scams, but approach them with caution. They are very real in their consequences. You will have to pay them back under often harsh conditions. As one credible source put it, these loans often carry high rates and fees, making them a risky form of borrowing. Use them only if you absolutely must, and have a plan to escape the debt as soon as possible. We hope this overview has armed you with knowledge. If you found this information useful, give us a thumbs up and consider sharing your own experiences or questions in the comments. Financial decisions, especially when you're in a tight spot, can be stressful, but with the right information, you can avoid the worst pitfalls and choose the option that's best for you.